Welcome to Vintage Burn. This is Kev.
Marco.
And Dougala.
And tonight we're doing an opinionated pit segment. We're talking 1982 rock and metal albums. So without further ado, Marco, the moment you've been waiting for an hour.
You want me to go first? Yeah, my first one, we'll call it number 10, even though in no particular order. But it is my least favorite out of the three. I'm going with Tank, Filth Hounds to Hades. And album's pretty cool. It has like a Motorhead sound to it. And then it makes sense because it was produced by Fast Eddie Clarke, original member of Motorhead. So it makes sense on the sound. Standout tracks to me are Shell Shock, Struck by Lightning, Turn Your Head Around, and the self-titled track. It's got a couple duds on there. It's got like some song about stormtroopers or something like that. Don't love stormtroopers, or what's it called? I got it right here. He fell in love with the stormtrooper. I wonder if Rob Halford wrote that song. But yeah, man, good record. Doug?
I do thoroughly enjoy Shell Shock, but like I told you earlier, Marco, I can do without like the minute intro, the ooga chaka for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that was my one qualm with the record. Why couldn't they just make it an intro track so you can just skip to like the actual song Shell Shock?
Yeah, other than that, the song is great. I do like the album, like you said. There are a few kind of duds, but I think overall for 1982, I think it's a pretty damn good album.
Oh, it's strong, man. Rated highly. I love it, man. I'm going to delve a little more into Tank. I know this is supposed to be their best album or whatnot, but I definitely want to dive more into the discography after the last couple, 3 or 4 days listening to it a couple times.
I think Blood, Guts, and Beer is an excellent song, too. Or song title. It's a good song, but I like the song title. What else more you need?
Yes. Yeah, no, it is a good song. That's one I didn't write down. I forgot to write that one down. I think, I listened to so much music today and I wrote a lot of notes. That was one of the last albums I did, so I probably started getting a little tired.
Yeah, it's a lot. When you do 1 year at a whack, even though it's only 1 year, and the 40, 50 years of like heavy rock / metal, it's even a year in itself is a lot to take in, and because there's so much going on. There's some you heard of, some you haven't heard of, some you don't know, some you might like. It's a lot. There's a lot to take in.
Yeah, well, my strategy towards this whole thing is like, pick like 10 that I don't really know and go for it. And I try to like, go with albums that I've heard are good in the past. And then if I have enough time, like the last year we did, I had a lot of time. I was in my car and I just constantly was listening to records. And so I listened to like 50. This time I didn't listen to as many, but still, I kind of knew like the ones I wanted anyway, like 2 of the 3 anyway. So that's that. Kevin.
What's up?
Kevin again?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I had myself on mute so that I didn't move around, or I'm using my AirPods, and I want to make sure that you guys don't hear any crackling or anything. So, for my pick, I'm going to go with Scorpions, Blackout. It's their 8th studio album. It's pretty famous, so there's not much more to say other than it's just an amazing record. I think it was one of their real breakthrough albums to the mainstream world, the arena rock world. I could be wrong, but I think this was really, starting to just get them much larger around the world. And awesome album cover. It's got the dude with the I don't even know what those are. Some type of sex torture sunglasses with the headbands. I'm assuming it's a dude in an insane asylum. It looks like James Hetfield from inside of an insane asylum or something.
I always thought those were forks, like curved forks on his eyes. Like I'm like, there's some symbolism there, but I don't know what it is.
It's very pre-Rammstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kevin, you are right. I think this is the album that really got him popping, like in the mainstream with No One Like You. That song was huge.
No,
I remember 3 songs, seeing the videos when I was a kid. Was that one when I was a kid? Was Rock You Like a Hurricane and Big City Nights.
Yeah, and for me on this record, obviously the self-titled song Blackout is just, we gotta really black out. It's a fucking great song. Mm-hmm. Great riff and everything. But you're right. It's No One Like You, one of the slower kind of ballads. which was breaking them into that whole arena rock vibe. So isn't After Blackout? I forget the name of the album, but Rock You Like a Hurricane. Is it on
Yeah, love at first sting.
Yeah, Love at First Sting. Yeah.
Kev,
Yeah, that was their like total breakthrough album because Rock You Like a Hurricane was the biggest thing on the face of the fucking planet.
And I gotta say, I mean, this is outside of '82, but with that album, Love at First Sting, man, Still Loving You is just a killer ballad.
Yeah, I agree. I think I actually own this one on vinyl. So one Scorpions I own on vinyl. And I don't know where it came from, but I'm glad I have that one.
Great album cover, man. Every time I look at it, I mean, I love it. Love the shattering glass and the dude and whoever painted this. It's a great painting.
So you said
it was good.
It's their 8th studio album. Imagine having 8 studio albums in 1982.
Yeah,
because they formed in what, like 1965. Like they've been doing it for a long fucking time, and
they're old, man. They're like as old as Sabbath, honestly. Their first record came out, so their first official one, Lonesome Crow, came out, I want to say in 71. I mean, I can just look it up, but it's very Sabbath sounding. It's such a killer record. And I know, Doug, I always bring this up when we're talking about Sabbath and stuff. I'm always like, oh, you got to check out the first Scorpions record because it's such a killer, diverse sounding Sabbath album, man. It's like
I have been kind of diving a little bit deeper into the Scorpions discography just because you guys and another friend's been really hyping them up too, and I'm like, you know what, I like what I hear whenever you guys play something or whenever we're somewhere and we hear it, but I'm like, I need to just kind of like go on a journey, and that's like that's been the top of my list lately.
Yeah.
Interesting little fact on this album, Don Dokken did backing vocals.
Oh. Didn't know that.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And another thing is, hey, if you can't get enough of them, they're putting out a new record. So, you know,
the Scorpions.
Mickey D's in the band. You know, from King Diamond / Motorhead.
Yeah.
He's now their drummer, and he's the young guy. Believe it or not.
He's Jesus Christ,
the young old dude.
So, my friend was telling me that he got Uli. Am I saying that right?
Uli John Roth.
Uli John Roth, yeah.
Like he was saying, he's like, I just got his newest solo record. He's like, it's without direction. He's just like kind of old man rock. He's like, it's all of the bad Kansas without the good, just kind of thrown out there, German style. And that's like the solo Uli.
Yeah, he's been out of Uli's been out of the band for a long time.
A long time, right?
Since like the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's been
that long, huh? I thought it was like 80s or like even early 90s, man. But that long.
Yeah, he's been out since the late 70s. He was their like virtuoso, like off the rails guitar player, and he was just like, I'm kind of bored with this shit. I'm gonna go do jazz fusion, wild stuff. I mean, the guy's an incredible player. You know, Alex Skolnick, it's like one of his biggest idols is Uli John Roth. And that's why they do that cover of Sales of Karen, because of Uli. That was a Scorpion song written on guitar by Uli. So that was his stuff before they got into more of the arena rock style. They were like really just fucking weird jazzy scale stuff was all Uli, or in the 70s.
Dude,
late 70s.
And he makes it look so easy too. He's just like in that video, like the very psychedelic Sabbath looking video, he's just kind of like it. You don't realize it's him playing it because he plays it just so nonchalant, like it's no big deal for him. I'm like, fuck.
Dude, you know what? Give everything up to their late 70s a chance first, in my opinion. I mean, the 80s stuff is great, but you kind of already know it just by hearing it constantly, whether it was on TV or, you know what I mean? So start with the old shit, the Uli years, and then work your way up. Is I appreciated it more. I was like, I don't know, 80s Scorpions, ugh. But I love both decades.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to start from the very beginning, and just work my way up. Just kind of, because like you said, if not, you know, it's one of those bands, you know, I know the Scorpions, but you know the popular hits, you know, and maybe some B-sides. You don't know like the roots or the progression and those early like early albums that like mattered, you know, before they had the one-hit wonder type albums and like the later more poppy shit.
All right, Dougie Doo, what's yours?
All right, so my number 3, and once again in no particular order, I decided Witchfinder General, Death Penalty. So I didn't realize that obviously it's the namesake of the 1968 film Witchfinder General, and I didn't realize they were only around from 1979 to 1984, and then for like 2 years in the 2000s from 06 to 08. But
such a great album cover.
Dude, yeah, so...
I was just about to bring that up. What do you think of the album cover?
So received some criticism for the cover with boobies on it. Yeah, boobs! And I love how...
Kevin, look at the back cover, too. Find the back cover, because there's more boobies on it.
So I'm not sure who model Joanne LaFame is, but good for her.
But thank you, Joanne. Thank you.
So... a couple of mentionable ones. I adore wholeheartedly Free Country. I don't know if you actually listened to it. I said it to both of you today because I was familiar with this one and like Witchfinder General, the title track, and like an Invisible Hate. And I finally got a chance to listen to like the full album, and it's good. It has Ozzy vibes and has like Angel Witch vibes, but like it's one of those albums you either love his voice like Ozzy or you know you could do without it, you know. But they were a huge influence on later Doom, you know, like Sleep and Earth, Down, Caius, Queens of the Stone Age. They were, you know, that sound, you know, Sabbath kind of started, and they kind of took it and kind of went a different way with it. And you hear just a lot of those very quintessential Doomy type riffs, even though it's a little more upbeat and a little faster than some Doom, but dude, overall, I thoroughly enjoy this album, and not just for the cover.
So I did listen to it today, and go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say with the cover, before we jump away from the breasts, is this supposed to be a representation of the 1692 witch trial? Are they sticking with a theme here? Do you know, or
the Witchfinder General, I guess. He was an actual dude. It was, I think his name was like Andrew Hopkins, and like but he was in England though, I believe. You know, so this I don't really has anything to do with. It was like the witch hunt in England, not necessarily in the States, but around the same time. And there was a guy. So the movie itself, it's about this soldier from whatever war. He's basically trying to find and kill the Witchfinder General. Because he's going around just basically harassing and raping and killing everyone as he sees fits because he thinks he's holy and he thinks he's all high and mighty. So that's kind of like, that's who the Witchfinder General is. And I'm not sure.
You can't even say it.
No, it's kind of one of those like Witchfinder General. But yeah, so I don't know what they're going for in the album. It kind of looks that way. Like maybe that's the soldier, that's the Witchfinder General, and there's boobies. So
yeah.
Either way,
I feel like this album was recorded in 2 sessions. I really do. Like the first song, I didn't like the first song at all. Like I was like, what the fuck am I listening to? You know, like I didn't even really like the riffs. I didn't like his voice. And then the second song there, Free Country, came on. I thought that was okay. Death Penalty, I really liked. No Stayer, I thought was okay. And then all of a sudden, it sounds like they got their shit together for the last 3 songs, and I absolutely adored the last 3. Witchfinder General, the song, Burning a Sinner, and R.I.P. I just thought like some of the transitions early on were sloppy. They sounded better later, so it makes me think that they recorded them in 2 different sessions completely, like 2 different studios or something. It doesn't sound the same to me. I don't like the vocals. I don't like them.
At first I didn't like him, especially in Witchfinder General, the song. Like it's kind of like grate on you a little bit, but then it's like, all right, that's actually got a good rhythm, and like I love the guitars and the music, you know.
Oh yeah, that's what I wrote here. Music really fucking good. Except for the first couple songs. Like I said, they just feel like they're recorded in different spots.
I love Free Country. I just love like the subject matter. It's just all about doing fucking drugs. Just shrooms, LSD, just going on a trip. And then I love like the riff and the chorus in that one.
Yeah, I did not like Invisible Hate though. The opening, Free Country was okay. I said that already. No Stayer and No Stayer and Invisible Hate were like the two. I don't think I really liked that much, but I liked every other song. But I really loved the last three, and I thought his vocals got better at the end too. By the way.
I when I look up an album, I try to kind of figure out if there's something weird like that happened. I don't know if it was like maybe two EPs that they kind of like decided to slap together and put out an album, but I don't know. Maybe it was just over a 2-year span and they got a little more cake together, or they were men back then. They didn't have Kickstarters like they do now.
So basically, to end my little rant on the album, I enjoyed it very much, except for 2 songs. And I have a feeling, though, if I listen to this album a few more times, those songs can grow on me. So I feel like this is a fucking pretty good album.
I liked it. So, Marco, next pick.
My next pick, I'm going with the guys I always talk shit about. But this one album I actually love a lot. It has a lot of really good songs. It's Anvil, Metal on Metal.
Nice.
Title track, phenomenal. Mothra, aside from the annoying chorus, phenomenal. The chorus, though, kills me. I can't stand the chorus in it. March of the Crabs, great instrumental. But my favorite song is Jackhammer. And the song is very derogatory all their songs are very derogatory towards women. Very misogynistic album. But goddamn, the riffs are fucking heavy and they're good. Come on, dude. Some of their fucking lyrics are unreal, dude. Go ahead, Doug.
No, you're right. And even the last one, I think I had mentioned there was I think they have one called Young Girl or Hot Teen or something. I know it was 1982 last time, and it was every album seemed to have something in that configuration. But yeah, they definitely have that, and it's funny too. You hear and listen to the lyrics and read the lyrics, and you think it's gonna be these sexy young Axl Rose looking dudes or Bret Michaels. It's and then you look at lips and you're like, oh, this is coming out of him.
Yeah, excuse me. They have a song called Tag Team. Tag Team.
What if
it's not about wrestling?
I was gonna say, how do you know it's not about wrestling, Marco?
And then I already mentioned it, but Jackhammer. It's not about jackhammering, officially, a real job.
Yeah, not about construction. It's
yeah, that's right. That's a good way to put it.
Maybe lips can bang, and we just don't know, and we're maybe he missed his career in porn, and this is what he has to settle with. Tease me, please. Why not?
I'm not sure he had the looks to do porn. I'm not sure they wanted him on film.
Yeah, but maybe he's got a rod and a half. You don't see many dudes' faces in porn anyway. He's just a stunt dong.
Come on, look at Rod Jeremy, dude. He still does porn. Looks what he looks like. But the one thing I did love about this record, though, is the production. I thought was really good for 1982. It actually had a metal sound as opposed to their first album, which I like too. Hard and Heavy is a good album, but it sounds more like a rock album. This sounded like a fucking metal album, and I think this really, you could see how many people they influenced. Even March of the Crabs has a somewhat thrashy, almost futuristic sound at that point. You could see where things are going, and I could see why people were very influenced with early Anvil. I'm not going to say all Anvil, but early Anvil.
I do enjoy the album cover too.
That's great.
For a band that kind of didn't seem to have a lot of money. They always had interesting album covers. It's not just them, sitting in front of a statue. You know what I mean? It's they actually had it's not a drawing. It's or maybe it's I don't know whatever they have for their album covers are always pretty interesting. They're kind of abstract, but not.
It's always something with an anvil. But one final note on the album: it was produced by Chris Sangaridis, I think is how you say his name, who's worked with people like Black Sabbath, trying to just pick out some good ones. Bruce Dickinson on his solo shit. Yngwie Malmsteen, Loudness, Exodus. I can go on and Overkill. I can go on. And that's why I think the production was so good on this album, for its time especially.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I do enjoy a little metal on metal.
All right.
Kevin.
I wasn't sure if I'm allowed to do this, but fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. My number 2 pick, in no particular order, I probably would have picked this as my number 1, though, is going to be another 8th studio album from the English heavy metal band Judas Priest. 1982's Screaming for Vengeance. I mean, come on, really? Why wouldn't you love this record? It showcased a little bit of everything that they're able to do, in my opinion. It's got some good slow tracks on it, like Take These Chains Off. And then you've got the typical songs that we all know. You've got Electric Eye. You got Another Thing Coming. Screaming for Vengeance is just an awesome metal track. I do like
Riding
Fever.
on the Wind.
It's a slower, poppy tune. Yeah. Riding on the Wind is awesome. Bloodstone, another kind of like a little bit of pop influence in it, but it's just a killer metal track.
Oh, excellent.
So, I mean, dude, front to back, I like the entire record. And some of the songs when I was younger, I was like, I don't know if I like these, but I've definitely appreciated them as I got older. And then, of course, Rob singing about his imprisonment of life, Prisoner of Your Eyes, which is actually a pretty damn good song, too. But
is that on this? Oh, is Prisoner of Your Eyes on this album?
There's a 2001 release that has it as a bonus track. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why they put it on 1992 session. On 1982 session, but this probably would be it's probably an later track that they went back and added to Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah.
I have no clue why, but looking at
I can tell you right now,
why would
they added it in 2001 as a bonus track, like you said.
What the fuck?
And Devil's Child's the last song.
Okay, yeah,
one live
track, one live track, and then they have Prisoner of Your Eyes added. But it looks like that was recorded for 1985's Turbo Sessions. So why the record companies make these decisions,
dude,
nobody knows.
They did the same thing with Painkiller. They had like the whole album, then they added like Living Bad Dreams live, and then another one live. You know what I mean? And it really didn't help the album in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know.
You know what it is? They put those out for completists who need everything. So there's like Judas Priest fans out there who have every version ever released of every album. And they're like, oh, we got to get this because it has this fucking live track. It's different, Kind of the same way with vinyl to an extent, certain bands. But yeah, going back to this record though.
One cool thing, man, is Doug Johnson did the cover art. I've always been a big fan of these covers. So between this, Defenders of the Faith, and Turbo, I've just enjoyed the artwork. He's done some great stuff. Again, Doug Johnson, for anybody that wants to check him out. I think he's got a website, and he's done stuff for professional sports, other artists. Pretty prominent in the 80s with his stuff, so...
I think I just found my porn name. Doug Johnson.
So, I think with this album, though, I think coming off a Point of Entry, which sounded like it was like just a pretty commercial record through and through. Like they were trying to get hits off of it. And I think this one has a share of that, but it also brought back a little bit of that like speed and just fucking heaviness. And Alfred, I think, was on point. I think this might be one of his better performances ever on an album. I would say it's in my top 3 or 4 Priest albums. I'd really have to think about it, but it's got to be in that range. Painkiller, Defenders, Stained Class, Sad Wings, Screaming for Vengeance. Those 5 are pretty much... I love Sin After Sin. I don't know, it's hard to say, but those 5, I think, are pretty much my favorites. And Screaming for Vengeance, depending on any day of the week, could be number 2 to number 5. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love this record, man. It's really the second Priest record I owned because of the cover, Kevin. Painkiller was the first. This was probably the second, if I remember correctly. First one I bought on vinyl, though.
I think the Hellion right into Electric Eye is like one of the greatest segues. Besides an album I'm going to talk about later, but just that intro right into Electric Eye just gets you fucking pumped. And then, dude, this album, what really got me into this? I liked it, I enjoyed it. But hearing Matthew Barlow do Screaming for Vengeance on Tribute to the Gods, Iced Earth Tribute to the Gods, kind of got me back into it. And then, I'm like, oh, fuck. When I was younger, like Take These Chains and Bloodstone would be like, meh, it's not too slow or it's not metal enough, But now, like, I love those songs. I think they actually played "Take These Chains" when we saw them a few marches ago.
Yeah.
And then
I think they did. And I can't agree more, Doug. I can't agree more. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And for some reason, whenever I sing the chorus to Bloodstone in my head, I always have to sing it as "butt stuff." Bit, bit, bit. And now that I say that, it's going to ruin it for you guys. I hope at least. But anyway, I want to say definitively that Painkiller's number one, and this is my second Priest overall. Like the most consistent. Like I adore other songs, I adore other albums, but like if I had to choose, like this would definitely be number 2 for me in the Priest catalog.
Cool. Awesome. Dougie, I think you're up, right?
I think so. So my number 2 in no specific order, I went with Twisted Sister, Under the Blade.
That's a good one.
So little fun fact before I get into it, I didn't realize they kind of put this out. It kind of did good. It did well in like the UK especially. Like even though they weren't new wave of British heavy metal, because where are they from, Arco? New York?
Long Island. They're from Long Island.
So they did very well in the UK, and they had a little bit of a following, and then they kind of like put out an EP after, and they were on Secret Records, and until like Stay Hungry came out, and they got like popularity, then Atlantic came out and put out this fucking polished version of it that people just hate. They say like, and now you can actually find it. For a long time, you could not find, unless it was a bootleg, you couldn't find the original version, which was just like a little less polished, dingier, dirty, a little grittier. Which I listened to both. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure I have a sealed version of the original copy.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If I could find it, I'd pull it out real quick, but it's too much work. But I'm pretty sure I have a sealed copy though of the original.
That's awesome. It's probably worth some bucks if it is, because like I said, like until they dropped the Atlantic one in 1985, like after Stay Hungry came out, it kind of, it was kind of just, if you had it, you had it, and then it kind of like faded into obscurity. But so we got obviously Destroyer and Under the Blade, which are awesome songs, and then you got like What You Don't Know and Run for Your Life. It's kind of got like some Judas Priest feels in some songs, some rocky. Huh?
Even has a song called Sin After Sin.
Yes. At first I'm like, wait a minute, do I have to? I'm like, am I missing something here? But then they almost have like some like punky type elements too. So it's just kind of overall, it's just a good, good album.
Yeah, man. I really like Tear It Loose a lot too. I think that's such a good song. And What You Don't Know Sure Can't Hurt You, the opening track, I really like. The only song that I think I don't like really is the Bad Boys of Rock and Roll. It just sounds too like almost mainstreamy. Like, I don't know what was going on there. It sounds like a Thin Lizzy song or something.
Yeah, it almost doesn't fit the album.
Right. But dude, I honestly will argue that this album is just as good as Stay Hungry. I love this fucking record, man. It's so good. And I've listened to it a few times in the past, but this week I think I listened to it like 5 times.
Yeah, it's a banger. Awesome. I mean, if I had to choose, awesome. I'm just a sucker for Stay Hungry, and that's one of those circumstantial, like when you got into it kind of albums. But this is like Destroyer, Under the Blade. They're just very like lyrically kind of like deep. You know what I mean? They kind of like the way Dee Snider, like in the earlier version too, his vocals are almost like a little more like like heavy. Mm-hmm. Versus like when you think of Twisted like Sister, it's very.
What was that? Just like, yeah.
Very gruff, very gruff.
Rough.
But yeah, one thing about them though, I'm sick of them being categorized, like you guys say with Dawkins all the time, as the glam. I guess because they put on makeup, but they do it in different ways, man. And I think they did it just kind of to be shocking. They were just shocking. I think they were more like New York Dolls influence than say Motley Crue influence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I 100% agree.
And so they were the real glam metal or glam rock because 80s people call it glam metal, but that was in the 70s. Hair metal was in the 80s. So, I don't know. I always confuse the shit, but I got yelled at once for it.
for mixing up the two.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what though?
Anything on this album or?
No.
Kevin. No?
No.
Good shit, man. Listen to it one day.
Yeah, I surprisingly just never really got into it.
So this was
Twisted Sister. I know Doug's a huge Twisted Sister fan, and I've listened to records that he's played, but man, every time I think of Twisted Sister, I just think of like Twisted Sister Christmas or something like that.
oh well, that's your problem, man.
Yeah.
Dude,
You just gotta.
Stay Hungry, the album, and then we'll when we get to the year, we'll get into it because I'm sure that'll be one of my. I'm gonna fight for. Actually, no, I can't say that from 1985. But anyway, it's such a dark fucking album. I think you would like it, Kev. If you actually kind of gave it a little bit of time and got rid, obviously, we're not gonna take it. And yeah, we're not gonna take it. And I Want to Rock, but like all the other fucking songs are just there's such bangers. But we'll get to that when the year comes. But. So, because of this album, this is when Dee Snider had to go in front of the U.S. Senate Committee, in front of Tipper Hoare, the PMRC about fucking, that whole thing. Tipper Gore thought Under the Blade was about sadomasochism, bondage, and rape. It's like, what the fuck? Tipper Gore hears what she wants to hear. I think she's into some sick shit. Because Under the Blade was about a fucking band member who went to surgery and just the fear of just surgery in general and just kind of the whole fucking process.
Wow, she was way off.
Before I even knew about that story, though, I know all about it. And but I always thought it was about like coke. Before I really looked into the lyrics and stuff, I just figured Under the Blade was about sniffing coke.
Like chopping your breakfast on a mirror.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I always thought before I really listened to it. But I always knew of the album, but I didn't listen to it probably till like 5 years ago or something. Probably about the time we went to Heavy Montreal and seen him, I would say. And that's when I really listened to it.
Oh, no shit.
I think that's the first time I ever listened to it, Anything else on this album, boys and girls?
I think that's all I got. I know Kevin's a big fan, but...
I'm going to go into my final solo pick. Man, I fucking love this record, and today made me love it even more listening to it, and it was Accept, Restless and Wild. You got Fast as a Shark, which is one of the best precursors to thrash you could ever have. The year before thrash officially popped off, got to be the thrashiest song before thrash ever really popped off. Don't you think?
Fast as a Shark?
Yeah, man. It's got like
Charlie Benanti
bass. It's got
that's what made him want to be a drummer.
Yeah, man. I listened to that and I'm like, this is the thrashiest fucking song before thrash was a thing. It was just so fucking good, man. But if you can think of any others, I'm interested to hear. The song Restless and Wild is obviously a classic. A couple other standouts I really liked were Demon Night. And then probably the worst song title on it, but actually a really good song was Flash Rockin' Man. Whatever that means in German. I don't know. And then the last song is one of their famous ones. It's a live staple, Princess of the Dawn. And I liked every song on it. I think actually there was one song that I could have probably lived without on the whole record. But man, fucking great shit. I love Wolf Hoffman. I think he's a bomb guitar player, writes some really good riffs. Accept always has cheesy lyrics, but I love Udo's voice. I don't know. I used to not like it, and I think it was because of Balls to the Wall.
It's very AC/DC.
It is, but I think it was because of Balls to the Wall. I just didn't really like that song. And I still don't really even love the song, except for the main. I love the main riff in it. But dude, I don't know. I love this album. If anybody has anything to say, go on.
No, it's one of those ones I've always appreciated, but I just never really dove into too much, not gonna lie.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think you'd really like it. Just for the opening of Fast as a Shark and Restless and Wild right in a row. Like, just listen to those two songs, and then you'll be like, I want to listen to more. I'm telling you, fucking awesome.
Right. I mean, we saw. You didn't make it to that show, did you? I think it was like
work or something.
It was Halloween, I think, or like right around Halloween. Yeah. It was Halloween weekend or something. But dude, I think
big money night.
It was the new singer they had, but they killed it though.
Yeah, the new singer's no joke too. I like their new shit.
That was the night I got my fucking obituary shirt ripped off me, and I was shirtless for half the night. And Andrew kept calling me fucking the creepy, sweaty guy from Family Guy.
Yo, creepy, sweaty guy.
And I had to buy a shirt, and all they had was like mediums at the time, so I had to squeeze into like a medium. Dude, that sucked.
Hold on, are we talking about Greased Up Deaf Guy?
Yes.
All right, cool.
100%.
Oh man.
I was trying to figure out the character's name. Greased up deaf guy. That's
Greased
who you
up
were,
deaf
huh?
guy. Oh yeah, 100%. It was
Well, how about
gross.
when Randy Marsh fought all the baseball parents? You ever seen that episode? South Park?
No.
No,
Yeah.
dude, you gotta watch some of these things. They're great.
Oh, South Park. Yeah, I'm so far behind on the South Park realm.
Yeah, he goes to his son's baseball games and just basically to start fights with other dads. And then, like, every time he gets arrested, he's in his underwear and he's always in cuffs screaming, "I thought this was America. I thought this was America." Anyway, check it out. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to do Led Zeppelin, but I realized that it's not really a record. It's really technically a compilation. And Jimmy Page just trying to make money off of Bonzo's death. So I was going to go with Coda, and I'm going to switch gears here and go with. I never thought I'd do this, but I'm going to pick a Kiss album. I'm going to go with 1982's Creatures of the Night. Mainly because, thanks to Iced Earth, I really enjoy that track, Creatures of the Night. I think it's an awesome, I would say it's a metal song, for a band that's kind of pretty much just been solid arena rock. And yeah, it's a great track. It's also an album that doesn't feature guitar player Ace Frehley. He's credited. I'm pretty sure he was on the way out before this, and this was just one of the albums they were done with him completely. And so they got a guitar player named Vinnie Vincent. He's an interesting dude all around as well. If you look up, there's so much like controversy about Vinnie Vincent. He disappeared from like the music industry for decades, and then Eddie Trunk got him out of nowhere to be able to come out and talk and meet with people again and stuff. And I don't know, the guy's pretty fucking weird, but what an amazing guitar player. He did a couple albums with Kiss, and he's just like one of those dudes that nobody really knows. And so, yeah, great record. I mean, again, it's Kiss, so people are probably going to know Creatures of the Night. I Love It Loud, Killer, some really good tracks in there, man. All around, a really good record from a band that, everybody loved Ace Frehley, and whether you think he's a great guitar player or not, he's still one of the most influential guitar players in the world for guitar players. So even dudes that could crush him are like, fucking Ace Frehley's the man. So it was interesting to see an album do pretty well, not having him as an actual member. They just gave him credit, which is funny. Like they credited him as the guitar player, but it wasn't even him.
That's really fucking weird.
I'm looking at that now. It says Vinnie Vincent was lead guitar on like 5 songs, and then this dude Robin Ford on a couple, and Steve Ferris on one. But yeah, no, I think it's a good album. I went through a little Kiss phase. I don't know, like a few months back, I would say. And yeah, I was listening to more of their 80s stuff like Creatures of the Night, Animalize. Yeah. And I really think this is a good kickoff to like a new era of Kiss. It gets away, this is, I think, right after Disco Kiss, right? Or maybe their solo records. I can't remember, but it's right about after that. So it was them pushing in a forward direction. And they were going a little more, they kind of have the, I like to call it the Rob Flynn path. They kind of go with what's happening.
Yes.
And they were kind of capitalized on like that 80s metal rock sound. But it worked. I think they did a really good job. And I think getting guys like Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent in the band really helped. And what's the other Eric that was in the band for a little while? Maybe he was a little later. But anyway, Eric Carr, Vinnie Vincent, those guys I think helped push them forward a bit. And I think got them really into their 80s flow. I can't complain about this record. I think it's a good record. I like Animalize a little bit better. But hey, man, it's cool with me. Doug's like, I got nothing.
Animalize is the one they like. That was their first one without makeup, right? Or am I making that up?
No, Unmasked.
No, I think they already didn't have makeup. Yeah, Unmasked was, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Then, yeah, Dynasty tanked. That was their 70. That was their late. I think it was 79 or something. And then they did Unmasked, and so they went from like doing disco pop to Unmasked, and they were just tanking in popularity. So, and then they did this album called The Elder, which A lot of like massive, like die-hard Kiss fans say to check out because they claim it's just like a really good progressive rock record. I still haven't checked it out, but a lot of people swear by it, and then you have the other group that are like, nope, not fucking touching it. So,
yeah, it's a real like love it or hate it album from what I've gathered. Some people really adore it, and who hates it really fucking hates it. It's a divisive album, I would say.
Then they had Killers in 1982, and then they got
fucking
into
After touring with Iron Maiden, those rip-off artists.
Yeah, exactly. They have Killers listed as 1982, but I don't even know. It's a compilation record. Never mind. So Creatures of the Night's the only album they had for 82. Okay, yeah, compilation. But they have an alternative cover. You can probably just see this in Wikipedia. I'm really glad they decided to go with the original cover. Just not
a
good-looking group of dudes.
That's pretty bad.
Just pretty fucking bad. But
put the makeup back on.
I mean,
I would imagine that would be us if we were in the 80s right there.
I know, but they're Kiss. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, Gene's kind of a dickhead. He's tried to patent the metal horns, thinking that he originated it, but that didn't. I guess it got rejected in court like a million times. He just hasn't given up.
I think he's patented OJ though, like the term OJ. So if like anyone refers to orange juice as OJ in a commercial, like he has like royalties to it.
It has to end.
Do something like that?
Who?
It's got to end.
Robert Loggia, didn't he do something like that?
Oh yeah, probably. They all tried.
He did juice commercials back in the day too.
Did you try to like copyright it or something?
Yeah, I thought that was like a Loggia thing, but I could be wrong. It could have been. I could be confusing it just because I remember him doing juice commercials, and he was also Frank in Scarface. If you don't know who Robert Loggia is, and he was the grandfather in Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone.
I thought you said Rob Lowe. I was like, yeah, I mean, who doesn't know Rob Lowe? Come on.
Yeah, dude ages backwards. Like fuck, it's like Paul Rudd.
Well, it's interesting. We went from makeup to no makeup and leopard and zebra tight pants, and it's just a very confusing time for everyone. So yeah, let's move on. Doug?
All right, so my
pumped for Doug's pick.
My third, and in pretty substantial order, because I would say this is a close contender for me for 1982. But Venom's 1982 effort, Black Metal. Dude, this album kind of just speaks for itself in a lot of ways.
Amazing.
We know they put out Welcome to Hell the year before, which I thought was more like one of the more raw records up until that time. And then this came out and kind of pushed it a little bit more. Very unpolished, very raw. It did well in the underground. It did well like in the mainstream for the most part too, dude. Like, So I mean, Black Metal, needs no introduction. To Hell and Back, Buried Alive, into Raise the Dead, and that was the other segue. When Buried Alive goes into Raise the Dead, that's like right up there with Hellion into Electric Eye. Teacher's Pet, fucking hilarious. Dude, Sacrifice, Countless Bathory, Don't Burn the Witch. It's just the whole album's a fucking banger.
Dude, and Heaven's on Fire is amazing.
Yes.
And I'm going to say right now, Buried Alive might be my favorite song on this record. Listening it to, I've listened to it a million times, but I was really listening to it today. And man, I wish I pulled up some of the lyrics, because I can quote lyrics off every song that's just talking about burning people and bitches and... And it's just freaking insane, man. It's so good. You're right. It is raw, but it's still it's better produced than Welcome to Hell.
It is. It's raw. It's a little more produced, but like a little not like polished as a lot of the albums of the time, of this era.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say one thing. Growing up, Maiden was always my favorite band, probably from the '80s, but I don't know, man. I think this album might be my favorite album in 1982. You picked it, so if you didn't pick it, I would have definitely picked it. Dude, I think it's the best album personally. For me, this might be my number one of the year.
I might have to I might have to agree with you, and I know Kevin will probably go with our original, but dude, this is a contender, and this was tough between the two. And it's like apples and oranges. They're just two different kind of same year, same genre, but not the same genre.
Yeah, but you know
Completely,
what this
man.
album did? This album, I mean, not for me musically, but this album, just title and imagery alone, created a whole subgenre.
Oh, absolutely. Between black metal, thrash metal, and death metal, like even Phil Anselmo has the black metal cover tattooed on his back. It's like you see him wearing the shirts. You see James Hetfield wearing, well, maybe I think it was more Welcome to Hell, but just Venom in general influenced so many other genres. Even to this day, it's insane.
Well,
Yeah,
another band I'm gonna segue into then, if we're talking about influences from this age, and Doug, I'm really shocked that you didn't list this album. Was Misfits Walk Among Us?
oh, that's going to be in my honorables too. Look at that.
So
Wait, that was 1982, wasn't it?
yeah,
It was, yeah. I didn't pick it based on it
I
really not
can't
being a metal
believe
record.
that it wasn't even in your top three. And I mean, just because of its influence, and it may not have been metal, it's still. I
No,
mean, we got
no,
rock records we mix into this shit and everything. So
no honestly, that for 1982, that's probably my number one. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it came out in '83 because it didn't pop up on anything. But obviously, I'm searching 1982 metal and rock records where it's a little more
Yeah.
on the punk side. But dude, thank you for bringing that up, dude. Walk Among Us is fucking godly in my eyes.
So I want to do honorable mentions now. Let's just knock them out before we get back into the number one record. I just want to actually, I'm not even going metal. I just want to shout out, like, I'm not going to talk about them in any way, but I want to shout out hardcore records in 82 because 82 for hardcore, probably the best year ever. And I'm just going to shout them out. It was going to be Descendants, Milo Goes to College, Misfits Walk Among Us, Dead Kennedy's Plastic Surgery Disaster, Bad Brain Self-Titled with the Capital and the Lightning Bolt, Fear, the record, Discharge, Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing,
Wow.
Bad Religion, How Could Hell Be Any Worse? And I can go on and on. There's so many more. I'll do one more. Circle Jerks, Wild in the Streets, and actually one more. SSD Control, The Kids Will Have Their Say. One of the fucking best hardcore fucking years ever, and I really want to do that show eventually. We will do it. Me and Kevin were talking about it. But dude, that's my shout out for this week. I'm not going any metal records. That's my all my honorable mentions. 1982 hardcore scene.
Yeah, wow, what a fucking crazy year for hardcore and like the punk scene.
Oh, I could go on, dude. There's so many more albums. I just don't want to. I could literally list like 50 albums. You don't want to sit here and that's why I tried to keep it around 10. But dude, it's nuts, man.
yeah, and
It's
I've got some live honorable mentions. So we've got Speak of the Devil from Ozzy, and then Black Sabbath Live Evil, which is interesting because Ozzy's covering Black Sabbath with the Ozzy band, and Sabbath is covering Ozzy era Sabbath with Dio. So I can't imagine that this was by accident. I'm sure they were like, it's a pissing contest. It's just interesting that they both had an album come out that same year doing the same shit to see who could do it better. So yeah, that was also the last time that the Live Evil album for Sabbath is pretty much what caused them to break up. Ronnie was making his own solo record and stuff, and they were going back and forth on who should be louder in the studio and whatever. It just led to a pissing contest internally, and the second Sabbath lineup parted ways with Mr. Dio. So yeah, I'm trying to think anything else that I can think of from '82. I mean, other than just what I just said about the Misfits, I mean, it's an influential album, man. Doug, I'm pretty sure you were one of the people that got me into the Misfits, so it's a great record, front to back.
I think, can we talk about it for 1 second? I know we're kind of running low on time here, but
Yeah,
dude, just walk on. I'm trying to pull up, like, I know the album front to back, but I'm trying to do like 20 Eyes, All Hell Breaks Loose. Like, I remember when I first heard those songs, they were on repeat for days on end, Obviously, Hate Breeders. And then I never understood why they had Mommy Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight as a live version, but dude, Skulls, Violent World, Devil's Whorehouse, Astro Zombies, Brain Eaters, like, dude, Vampira, Nike A Go-Go, what a fucking banger banger of a fucking 1982 album. And I just, I don't know. I just adore this album, and I really appreciate you bringing it up because it totally slipped under my radar because I thought it was a little bit later. I thought it was like 83 for some reason.
Yeah, it's probably thinking about it, like briefly, it's probably my second favorite record from that year. My favorite being Bad Brains, but that's right there with it. I mean, they go hand in hand to me, but love both records.
Man, 82 was a huge year, not just for metal and rock, but my word, and just like the punk, the hardcore, you could just see where, and that's why I love doing this, you can see where things were heading, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Subgenre central.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. See, like...
And by 85, 84, we'll be talking about crossover, like DRI will be coming up and shit. SOD, all that stuff, you know?
I was thinking about it. The later we get, like 1985, 1986, even 84, like, dude, there were so many albums that came out in like that span. Like we might have that, like, obviously we can't talk about a million albums, but there are going to be a lot of honorable mentions in those, mid 80 years.
And Doug, speaking of honorable mentions, you don't have to go into depth, but any albums that you had written down before we get into number one?
There's a bunch, but one I wanted to mention was the Metal Massacre compilation, which is kind of burned in infamy. Obviously, Metallica Hit the Lights was on that one, and the original was actually spelled Metallica. So they had they had spelled wrong in the first one, which I thought was awesome. But I think so.
A lot of money.
1 and 2 came out the same year. Metal Massacre 1 and 2, and then I didn't realize that Marty Freeman was in Aloha. I always knew there was a band called Aloha on Metal Massacre 2, but I didn't realize Marty Freeman was in it. I thought that was kind of funny. And then the Overkill in number 2 is not our Overkill. It's an Overkill from LA, which aren't bad. They're a little more kind of punky, but real Overkill, East Coast Overkill, like, didn't appear till number 5, but dude, I just think there's some good shit on there. I haven't listened to them in years, but I remember liking a few of the bands and shit. But
and on one more quick note, I find it interesting that all the I'm going to name 3 bands that released EPs that are bands that some of us partially like or like. Sodom released their first EP. Artillery released their first EP in '82. What was the other one? It was it's coming. Merciful Fate.
Yes.
Oh, I remember Merciful Fate. I didn't realize Artillery and Sodom though.
Yeah, Sodom was pretty early, dude. I didn't know Artillery was that early. I had no idea.
I'm gonna have to do a little digging now. Like, dude, were they? Have you listened to it?
No. I just have a list of stuff. Like, I found this website that had a bunch of records on it, and they just happened to be on it. So I was just like, wow, I didn't realize they were that early. I knew like Sodom was like 82, maybe 83. I was thinking, but I didn't realize they released anything in 82. Did not realize. Artillery totally surprised me.
Yeah, because that's, especially if they were pumping out the shit then that they did when they actually had full albums. Like, dude, they could be a contender for like fucking 82 is pretty early. I mean, that's what Kill 'Em All, and Show No Mercy. What was 83? So that's kind of that's early. I think before Kill 'Em All was fucking early.
All right, Kevin, why don't you roll us into the number one album? Doesn't necessarily not your favorite, but probably the most influential album of the year, if not one of the most influential albums of all time.
All right.
Okay.
Well, our number one pick here is going to be Number of the Beast from Iron Maiden. Let's just start with the album cover before we even get into the songs. The album cover alone is just super iconic, man. Beautiful, beautiful artwork.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Gorgeously done, I say.
Yeah, they lost something when Riggs left the fold, They lost something.
Yep, I agree. I love, probably the first 7 or 8 covers that they had, but for some reason this one just always, just the whole puppet master stance, Eddie controlling the devil. It's just fucking awesome. And even in the singles, some of the singles that he did for Run to the Hills and everything, just awesome. For me personally, I've got to have a standout song, and it's going to be Hallowed Be Thy Name.
Yeah. Without question.
You know what I just realized? Tribute to the Gods, the Iced Earth album cover. We've already talked about 3 songs that came out in 1982 that were on that album. And I forget what else was on that album, but there might even be more. But like out of the albums we talked to, 3 came out in this year alone, which is kind of crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a near flawless record, man. You know, the only thing I would change about the album, if I was like producing them back in the day, I would have them open the album with Number of the Beast, and I would put Invaders somewhere near the end.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, just with that whole opening, with the whole like,
dude,
whatever,
you're right.
You know, I just think it would have been the perfect intro, right into Children of the Damned,
you're right,
into The Prisoner, which is fucking phenomenal. The Prisoner might be, it's up there with Hallowed Be Thy Name. I love that song.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I
Great
take it
catchy
back.
chorus.
My first favorite song is 22 Acacia Avenue, and it's that riff in it.
I love that song too, yeah.
I love that riff so much.
But I tell you, this has one of the songs in life that I never need to hear again. And can you guess which one that is?
Run to the hill.
Oh, dude, you just hurt my head doing that.
Yeah, me too.
Run for your life.
But that's like just one of those songs, like You've Got Another Thing Coming, or Breaking the Law, or
Enter Sandman.
Enter Sandman. It's just one of those songs I never need to hear again.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
And I think a very underrated track, I love Gangland. I know that's a divisive one too, but I fucking love that song. But a lot of people are either they love it or hate it. I love it.
I do enjoy Gangland, not gonna lie.
Oh, it's better than To Tame the Land, so.
Not To Tame, The Quest for Fire. How many times do we have to go through this?
I don't know why I call it To Tame the Land. Maybe I'm just trying to fucking forget the song altogether.
Kevin, it's the dinosaur song. That's the one you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Quest for Fire. I've gone through this 3 times now.
I'm gonna make that my ringtone for whenever you call me, Kevin. Just Kevin's calling. Join my quest for fire. Like, Kevin's calling. You know what you gotta do?
You gotta make it other ringtones of other people, so it rings in front of Kevin.
Oh.
By the way,
I like it.
Doug, what did you told someone the last time? I forget who I was saying it. This was actually a while ago. I just forgot to mention it to you. But I was hanging out with somebody. Was it Caruso? Yeah, it was. Me and Nick went away to Maine, and Nick's like, "Oh, hey, you want to put on some Aussie?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want to put on Center of Eternity?" It's the best Aussie song. Fuck you, Doug. I just remember that. Sorry, I owed you that one.
I'm like,
he had me going. I was like, I just looked at him seriously, and I'm like, really? That's your favorite song? And then he broke. He should have kept in character. He was like, no, Doug told me to bust your balls. I was like, oh fuck, dude, you had me going. I was like, I really thought you were an Aussie fan, and I'm like, that's your favorite song. That's your favorite song, but.
I forgot about that. I love to plant little trolls that like I forget about, and I hear about them like 3 months later.
It worked. I mean, I was like, really? That's what you want to hear? He was just like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
I'm just hoping like you're gonna
songs.
That's why you lost your shit in a fucking Italian restaurant, because Caruso's favorite song was Center of Eternity.
Anyway, back to Maiden.
No, just one more thing I wanted to say about the album. I mean, it's obvious. If you know metal, this is the album that really broke Iron Maiden and made them as big as they were, man, or as big as they are today. Yeah. I mean, you can argue that maybe behind Metallica, Iron Maiden's got to be the most successful band in metal.
Also, the last record with Clive Burr, who I personally, once again, just preference, I found him to be a more desirable drummer. I would have really liked to see how he pushed himself beyond this album and what he would have done going into the other albums. Not to say Nico's not a great drummer, but I also think Nico is he's a repetitive drummer. So I would have loved.
They're just very different.
Yeah.
The thing with Nico is he follows like Steve Harris.
Yeah.
Like that's how they play. They play a little bit different, you know. But like Burr was just a regular rock drummer, man. He just played like a regular drummer. Nico does, like I said, he does like whatever the bass line is, he follows it. Like Where Eagles Dare, and the drumming fall. You know what I mean? and I think that's
Yeah, it
their
would have.
difference.
And it's funny because they say Clive, we didn't get to see his full potential, and they knew, I mean, obviously he never would have been replaced if he didn't get sick with disease and die. But I mean, I think that was Nico is a good second fill in. Two totally different drummers. You hear the influence in the next album. I know Nico is like he's into jazz. He was a jazz drummer and all that jazz too. Literally, no pun intended. But he, I don't know. I would have loved to have heard Clive go beyond this album as they progress to as a band.
Yeah, Nico might be my favorite carnivore.
Is he a meat eater? Really? That's interesting.
Oh yeah, he owns a rib joint. How could he not be?
That's right. Yeah, interesting. It's a good statistic.
Yeah, favorite one.
He makes a mean barbecue sauce too.
Yeah. That place is cool, Kevin. If you ever get down to Florida, go to the restaurant. It's got some cool memorabilia and stuff, and I guess there's a pretty good chance he's there. A lot of people have met him. The few times I've been there, he has happened not to be there, but I've seen so many pictures from cruisers with Nico in it. It's in Coral Springs, Florida, near Miami a bit. Kind of near Miami.
It's near Miami. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a half-hour ride.
Okay.
I remember me, Marco, Ken, and Sheila went there before the last cruise, and I remember like we got there, it was early, it was cool, and then by the time we got out of the restaurant, it was like a fucking million degrees, and I remember just dropping trow and fucking putting my shorts on in, like the middle of the parking lot, waiting for the Uber.
Yeah, we both did the same thing. I did it too, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
It's like, fuck this, it's vacation o'clock, it's short o'clock.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man.
Anything else in this one?
Go ahead.
No, anything else in this one?
Not from me, anyway.
Yeah,
no.
I think that rounds it out, and I'm sure you guys want to get off now.
Yeah, I got to get off within 5 minutes, so it's time to wind it down at least. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys liked our picks from 1982. There's so much more to look at. So honestly, just Google search it, 1982 rock and metal albums. You'll just. It's really cool to do what we're doing, go through the years and just think of these records that had come out, and some unknown gems that you can take a look at. So thanks for listening.
And hold on, if you're into hardcore punk as well, check out the 1982 hardcore punk because it's probably better than the metal of 1982. But go ahead, I'm sorry, Kevin.
No, that was good. Yep. For all you hardcore fans out there, Marco is the guy. He's our hardcore expert. So,
Dr. Hardcore.
Yep. All right, with that said, this is Kev.
Marco.
A.K.A. Dr. Hardcore. And Doug.
Signing off.
See you in 1983.
Oh, snap.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, guys. I think Kevin's masturbating listening to us talk.